You have a country that is effectively one of the richest countries in the world, certainly the wealthiest country in Africa.
The Democratic Republic of Congo has reportedly put a deal on the table for US President Donald Trump. It has called for help in defeating the rebel forces.
We're exploring the Democratic Republic of Congo, a country bursting with riches like cobalt, diamonds, and gold. But that wealth comes at a devastating price.
This small, shimmering rock can be worth more than gold. It's what powers your phone, your car, and the entire green revolution. It comes from a country sitting on a fortune that some have estimated at a mind-boggling $24 trillion. So why are the people living on top of this treasure chest among the poorest on Earth? This isn't just a tragedy, it's the story of a heist, one that's been going on for decades. And right now, the world's two biggest superpowers, the US and China, are fighting over the prize, threatening to lock the Congolese people out of their own future, forever. Section 1, the Vault. The curse of abundance. Deep in the heart of Africa lies a country that holds the keys to our modern world. The Democratic Republic of Congo, or DRC, isn't just rich, it's arguably the most critical source of strategic minerals on the entire planet. While the exact value is impossible to calculate, geologists agree its untapped mineral wealth is in the untold trillions. And we're not just talking about gold and diamonds. The DRC holds over 70% of the world's cobalt, a crucial component in the lithium-ion batteries that power virtually every EV and smartphone. Without a steady flow of Congolese cobalt, the green energy transition would face a catastrophic slowdown. The country also sits on some of the planet's largest and highest-grade deposits of copper, the metal that's the literal backbone of our electric world. Then you've got the coltan, tungsten, and tantalum, all essential for everything from our laptops to advanced military hardware. Whoever controls access to these materials helps steer the future of global civilization. Every time you charge your phone or see an electric car glide by, you're connected to the Congo. And that's where the story gets gut-wrenching. Despite sitting on this geological lottery ticket, the DRC is one of the poorest nations in the world. It's the textbook definition of the resource curse, where incredible natural wealth brings conflict, corruption, and suffering instead of prosperity. This isn't an accident, it's by design. For over a century, the Congo story has been one of foreign powers stripping its wealth and leaving devastation behind. The fight for control of this vault has shaped our world, and today, that fight is more intense than it's ever been. Section 2. The Original Sin, a Legacy of Plunder. To really get what's happening today, you have to rewind to the original crime. The heist started in the late 19th century, not with a country, but with a single, ruthless man, King Leopold II of Belgium. He didn't just colonize the Congo, he claimed it as his personal property. He called it the Congo Free State, but it was really a massive slave state built on the brutal harvesting of rubber and ivory. If people didn't meet his impossible quotas, his agents would chop off their hands. Millions died in what became one of history's most horrific genocides, all to make a European king fantastically rich. When the world finally found out about Leopold's atrocities, he was forced to hand the territory over to the Belgian government. But the business model was already set. The Congo was a place to be plundered for raw materials, not a nation for the Congolese people. That pattern held even after independence. In 1960, a charismatic leader named Patrice Lumumba became the DRC's first democratically elected prime minister. Lumumba had a radical idea. Congo's incredible mineral wealth should finally belong to the Congolese people. He famously declared that the nation's resources would no longer fuel foreign empires, but would build his own people's future. He was basically declaring war on the established order. For powers like Belgium and the United States, who needed a cheap, steady supply of Congolese uranium and copper for their Cold War efforts, an independent-minded Lumumba was a massive threat. They were terrified he'd pivot to the Soviet Union and cut them off. The backlash was swift and brutal. Just months after his election, Lumumba was overthrown in a coup backed by Belgian and American intelligence. He was captured, tortured, and killed. His murder sent a chilling message that has echoed for over 60 years. Congolese sovereignty will not get in the way of foreign interests. The dream of a Congo for the Congolese died with him, and the country spiraled into decades of dictatorship and chaos, all while its riches continued to be siphoned away. Section 3. The New Players, the Modern Heist. For decades after Lumumba's death, the looting of the Congo simply continued under a new Western-backed dictator, Mobutu Sese Seko. But as the Cold War faded and a new century dawned, a new player entered the arena. This one had a different playbook and much, much deeper pockets. China. While the West was distracted by conflicts in the Middle East, China was playing the long game and playing it brilliantly. Beijing knew the future would be powered by minerals, and the DRC was the ultimate prize. Chinese state-backed companies poured into the country with an offer that seemed too good to refuse. Their signature play was the Minerals for Infrastructure deal, like the massive Secamines agreement in 2007. The pitch was simple. In exchange for the rights to mine billions in copper and cobalt, Chinese firms would build desperately needed roads, hospitals, and dams. To a country with almost no functioning infrastructure, it sounded like a miracle. But critics say it was just a new kind of colonial trap. The promised infrastructure was often poorly built, delayed, or never appeared at all, while the minerals flowed out of the country faster than ever. Chinese companies were strategic, buying up the best and highest grade mines, which made their operations cheaper and more profitable. By 2016, China Molybdenum, a state-backed giant, had bought the massive Tenke Fungurume mine, one of the world's most prized copper and cobalt sources. Soon after, they grabbed another giant, the Kisanfu mine. Through deals like these, China locked down a commanding position over the world's cobalt supply. Today, Chinese firms control a huge majority of the DRC's industrial mining operations. But their strategy didn't stop at the mines. China also moved to dominate the next critical step, refining. Now, up to 80% of the world's raw cobalt is sent to China for processing. This gives Beijing immense power. They can influence global prices, sometimes pushing them down to squeeze competitors and, in turn, slash the tax revenue the DRC government depends on. It wasn't just business, it was the quiet construction of a global resource empire. Section 4. The Empire Strikes Back. America's Awakening. For years, Washington just watched as Beijing systematically cornered the market on the minerals of the future. But when the reality of the green energy transition hit home, the shocking realization that everything from Ford's electric F-150s to the military's advanced drones depended on minerals controlled by its biggest rival, America finally woke up. The US is now scrambling to get back in the game, and the Congo is ground zero. The American strategy is different, but the goal is identical: secure access. Instead of building roads, the US is floating minerals for security deals. The DRC government is fighting dozens of armed groups in its mineral-rich east, including the M23 rebels, who the UN and the US say are backed by neighboring Rwanda. Washington is offering military intelligence, equipment, and diplomatic muscle to help stabilize the region. The unspoken price? A seat at the table for American companies to access those vast mineral reserves. This new Cold War has created a high-stakes geopolitical game. For Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi, it's a golden opportunity to play the two superpowers against each other and maybe, just maybe, break free from being so dependent on China. A key battleground in this new economic war is a railroad. To counter China's grip on trade routes, the US and the EU are pouring billions into a massive project called the Lobito Corridor. The plan is to build a railway line connecting the DRC's copper and cobalt belt straight to a port in Angola, creating a direct path to Atlantic markets. It's a direct challenge to China's dominance and a clear signal that the West is trying to build a supply chain of its own. The race is on. The EU is desperate to find non-Chinese sources for its own green transition. Suddenly, the DRC has gone from a neglected afterthought to the central chessboard in a 21st century great game. Everyone wants a piece of the prize, and the Congolese government is right in the middle, trying to play the giants off each other. Section 5. The Battleground. The Human Cost. While superpowers play chess from thousands of miles away, the real price of this resource war is paid on the ground, in the dirt and blood of the Congolese people. This isn't just an economic contest, it's a brutal conflict that's fueling a humanitarian disaster. In the eastern DRC, controlling a mine means controlling the money, and that means power. Armed groups like the M23 rebels fight over mineral-rich land, funding their wars with smuggled gold, tin, and coltan. The smuggling is out of control. Neighboring Rwanda, a country with few mineral deposits of its own, has seen its official mineral exports skyrocket, an increase many experts believe is fueled by resources laundered across the border from Congo's war zones. The expansion of giant industrial mines has also brought horrific human rights abuses. Investigations by groups like Amnesty International have uncovered how entire communities are forcibly evicted from their homes and farms to make way for new copper and cobalt mines, often run by Chinese-owned firms. Families that have lived on the land for generations are left with nothing. Then there's the dark reality of what's called artisanal mining. This isn't a quaint term for skilled craft work. It's a synonym for desperation. It's men, women, and children digging for cobalt with their bare hands in shaky, hand-dug tunnels that can collapse at any moment. They work in toxic dust for pennies a day. The cobalt in your pocket might have been dug by a child who will never set foot in a classroom. The environmental cost is just as horrifying. Mining operations have been accused of dumping acidic waste and toxic sludge into rivers, poisoning drinking water, killing fish, and destroying crops. Communities have reported a terrifying rise in birth defects and strange illnesses. This isn't a resource curse, it's a war being waged on the Congolese people and their land. As one report put it, saving the planet with green energy can't be built on human rights abuses. But in the Congo, that's exactly what's happening. Section 6, the end game, a fight for sovereignty. Caught in this geopolitical tug-of-war, the DRC is finally trying to rewrite the rules. After more than a century of watching its wealth get hauled away, the government is starting to push back in a big way, signaling a new era of what you might call resource nationalism. One of its boldest moves was launching a full-scale review of the massive Minerals for Infrastructure deal with China, which officials now admit was horribly unbalanced and unfair to Congo. They're demanding better terms, more transparency, and a much bigger slice of the pie. Even more dramatically, the government has started to use its ultimate weapon, the off switch. In early 2025, facing a global market flooded with cheap cobalt from Chinese-owned mines, which caused prices to crash, the DRC hit the brakes. It put a temporary ban on certain cobalt exports. The move was a direct shot at Beijing, designed to show that the DRC would no longer sit by while market games slashed its national income. It worked. The ban sent shockwaves through the industry, with cobalt prices shooting up by as much as 60%, proving just how much power the DRC really holds. The government is also trying to climb up the economic ladder. Instead of just exporting raw dirt, they want to build refineries and even battery plants on their own soil. New laws, like the 2018 Mining Code, have jacked up the royalty rates on strategic minerals like cobalt to 10% and require mining companies to invest in local communities. But the obstacles are huge. Corruption is still deeply embedded, with some of the country's own elite often working with foreign companies to loot the state. And the relentless violence in the East makes it almost impossible to enforce these new laws. The government is walking a tightrope, trying to balance the US and China without getting torn apart, all while trying to build a nation that can finally profit from its own incredible wealth. The question is, are they doing enough, and is it too late? The story of the Congo holds up a mirror to the hidden costs of our daily lives. The shift to clean energy is vital, but it can't be built on a foundation of injustice. This brings up a tough question, and we want to know what you think. Who holds the most responsibility here? Is it the foreign powers like the US and China vying for control? The giant corporations that buy the minerals? Or the country's own leaders? Let us know what you think in the comments, and if you want to keep making sense of the complex forces shaping our world, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell.